Wow.
Hours that he can use the key. So 12 o'clock was used by the Catholics. It's 1:30 for the Armenians, 2:30 for the Greek Orthodox.
Can you find your wife?
Oh, very deep.
Yes, yes. Oh, very, very unexpected.
See how worn that is from.
Next two, please, two at a time.
Thank you. This is where the manger was. Oh.
Okay, thank you. Folds over the lamp. You have the Armenian symbol. Here, we have the Armenian cross. Bishop or the divine priest, he's leading the lamp. So when the Armenians hold services, they hold services here. So this altar.
This is the Catholic section.
So when we talk about December 24, we talk about Christmas Mass there. Will be broadcasted from that one all over. Oh, this one. The order of the church celebrates. Yeah, this one started expects the 12th century. The one that we are walking.
12th century. Wow.
12th century structure. Built at the time of the Crusaders. We already means that we were in that section, which is right there. This part was more like a modern
Store. Door. Caribbean.
if you couldn't get good quality material, you copied nature. Herod himself and his VIP guest a private Roman theater. I don't know if you can see it from here. This half round.
I have come back to Herodium, to this theater, again in the service of the king. But this time I was called not to build, but to demolish. King Herod, I did such amazing projects for him. And this theater was my work as well. But it's doomed now. The king has decided to alter Herodium altogether and transform the whole mountain into his mausoleum. Can you hear? So few people had time to admire the artwork that decorates these walls. I remember well the exact moment when Herod gave the order to create them. He returned from one of his journeys with news. In just a few months, Marcus Agrippa, the emperor's second in command, will come on a royal visit, and he will be hosted here too, in Herodium. The palace was in a state of frenzied anticipation. The king gave orders to prepare for the visit by meeting the standards that Agrippa was accustomed to in Rome. The finest wine, preserved apples from Italy, fish sauce from Spain. But the most important task of all was the redecoration of the theater's royal hall. The king has his own reasons. He knows that even artwork can sometimes have political significance. The first thing the artists had to do was replaster the walls. After that, they sculpted the upper part of the room in stucco relief, a special kind of plaster. What a marvelous decoration it is. It gives the flat wall depth, like stone carvings. The artists divided the space of the walls with plaster columns, decorated with leaves and crowned by capitals. Between the columns, high up the walls, they designed windows with wooden blinds open to the view. Look carefully. They are not real windows, but paintings of windows hung on the walls. In all his building projects, Herod avoided images of animals or people in obedience to the biblical prohibition. But here, in this room, Herod made an exception to that custom. He gave orders to paint views of Egypt and the Nile, selected especially for the guest. After all, the conquest of Egypt by the emperor's army under Agrippa's command symbolizes the unity of the empire. Look, goats on a rocky cliff with a cypress tree and a shrine. And here a crocodile slides into the Nile. And this picture, a bull under a big tree in a pasture. And in the background, a boat at sea. And the colors are so vibrant and natural. Paintings like this were rare, even in Rome. For my workers, finishing the work before the visit seemed an impossible task. But Herod never accepted impossible as an option. Behold, the big moment has arrived. Marcus Agrippa, the emperor's second in command, has entered the harbor of Caesarea. The city was festively decorated, and crowds came out to greet the illustrious guest. And here began the journey that Herod had planned for Agrippa, into the heart of Judea, to the edge of the desert, to Herodium. As the visit progressed, Agrippa was more and more amazed. He did not expect to find such splendor and grandeur at the remote edge of the empire. He smiled with pleasure when he identified the wine from a famous Italian vineyard as his own favorite back home. But Herod had one more surprise for Agrippa, the high point of all his gestures of esteem. Herod led him to the second floor of the royal guest hall. Agrippa was deeply moved as he stood in front of a painting of a naval battle. He recognized it at once. The Battle of Actium, his greatest triumph, where he defeated Mark Antony and Cleopatra, handing Egypt to the Emperor Augustus on a silver platter. The depiction was so vivid that Agrippa's memories came flooding back, and for a brief moment, he felt the paintings come to life. Oh, King Herod, he knew how to please those he needed to, but also to arouse fear. This cruel man was enormously talented, a lion and a fox in one. His reign was remarkable. The kingdom flourished, trade prospered, people lived well. Despite the venomous criticism aimed at him, I always thought we should not forget the greatness of the man who changed Judea more than all his predecessors. But years go by, and the king feels his end is near, and the show will not go on forever. So he has brought us here, again, to this very room, but this time to demolish it, to cover it with earth, and turn the entire mountain into the eternal mausoleum of Herod, king of Judea. The royal hall has now become the sleeping quarters of the demolition crew. In the last days of the theater, everyone tries to leave his mark on these walls. One edges a maze or rosette, another draws a boat with a piece of charcoal. I too feel that my end is near. This will apparently be my last assignment. But before I leave this world, I would like to learn one thing. Is it true that everything is destined to disappear with time? In 2,000 years from now, will anyone still know who Herod, king of Judea, was? Who knows? Perhaps somewhere, far into the unforeseeable future, this theater will again be full of people, and the sounds of talk and music. Who knows?
Jerusalem. What's left of the theater? Herod had a nice view.
Where was the body? Was it a?
Well, but it wasn't there anymore.
Where would it have been?
In the cemetery.
And would it have been a burial or a?
All right. Mom did it. You did it. Look at all that down there. That was a stairway and a half. Oh goodness. More?
We're not done yet. We're not.
Yeah, so that was his grave. Well, I guess you heard. What is with this thing?
I call it time in my
Still
shoes.
going on.
It's kind of a
There it goes. Yeah, it was a fortress. It's down in there.
Okay.
The original walls from Herod. Wow.
Because
all of this is new. I've not seen this.
Wow.
Opposite to those two buildings, he had his sauna, his cool, three different baths, cold, steam bath with flushing water. Water were connected. It was a little bit too difficult to see, but we walked at the edge of the closet and above the cistern the water was connected. And that reminds us of what we've done yesterday, the shadow. We actually
Can't see the background.
You can always tell unless you're
That's right. We're assuming that is the. Where is it? All right. Last hotel room in Jerusalem. Don't know if I did this already, but just in case. Okay. And there's the view out our window. I don't know what that is down there. Not the prettiest view inside of the building, but anywho. All right. Sorry, the other picture.
to stay here ever since. It happened 3,000 years ago. You're going to see it all, but this is a start. Zion Son will take a right, and here we go with Caiaphas and
He was, he was not Jewish, but they considered him righteous among the nations, and so they allowed him to be buried in Jerusalem.
The Hinnom Valley down below. Now, from that road, if you will look at the road and move to your right, you'll see that the hill begins to slope down to a canyon on your right-hand side. You see the valley, you see the houses on the other side. This is the Kidron Valley. Now, to put it in perspective, you see the top of the rock, up in the corner of the large building, you see the black zone, the Boston Mosque. They go over to the right, and you'll see another Temple Mount. All right. Down below that is where the Kidron Valley is located. Between the road and the Kidron Valley, with this tree in her way, and all the houses in between here, this is the ancient city of David. David's city was from the walls south down through that very narrow valley, meeting the very bottom. So the Kidron Valley came down to the bottom over on your right. The Tyropoeon Valley came down and curved over toward it. It met at the bottom of the valley below. And the valley over Jerusalem, that church generates land. If you come down a little further, you'll see the Golden Building. That's the Russell Church. You'll pass by it as we walk next. Right on that direction. And then we'll come down to
Powerless preacher, is that a metaphor?
You just want 1 minute. Just say it.
You got 10 seconds left.
So,
Yeah.
chronology of
Yay.
Passover week. On Thursday, Jesus met with his disciples in the Kataluma, an upper room. The exact same word that Luke uses for the inn. That's why it was not an inn. I will take issue with Ramsey in Bethlehem. There was no inn. It was an upper room. There was no room for Jesus, for Mary and Joseph in the upper room, so they stayed downstairs in the stable. Jesus met with his disciples in the upper room. We commemorate there the Last Supper. There, Jesus dips his hand in the bread, or the bread in the oil with Judas, the one who dips with me, betrays me. Judas leaves. Jesus and his disciples go over here on the Mount of Olives, and it was not covered with graves, it was covered with olive trees. Somewhere over there, Jesus and his disciples often went for retreat. The city is dense and dusty. Over there, it's shaded, and so the disciples knew exactly where they were going. They went somewhere on the upper room. There, Jesus went apart from them to pray, and prayed, "Not my will, but thine." We'll be reading all these texts. And then the soldiers come, and they bring him down the Kidron Valley and up this path to where the gamecock is on top of that. You see the rooster?
Yeah.
So they bring him up here to Caiaphas' palace, and that's where you are. What I want you to see is somewhat, as we can, piece together the path of the cross. Okay?
You're fine.
Sorry.
All the steps of Christ, which is breast and kindness. You see from this, this is not a simple house. This is very well. Fortunately, you have been done it's very far, very windy, alone, knowing what is like in life. I've asked someone to read Psalm 88.
Draw their water up from the cistern. You saw some steps that also took them down into the cistern. So if Jesus would have been lowered through that hole, down into that dry, damp cistern, and held there until they could take him to before the Sanhedrin.
And then pulled back up.
And they would have to pull him back up by a rope, which would not be very comfortable. To be lowered down through there and then pulled back up. So it kind of, whether or not this is it would have been a place like this.
New things or your on our way to the upper room, we've got this. You're not on.
Yeah, you're on. No. Now you're on, yes.
All right, let's go a little bit farther away. This man is a little bit too noisy. One around 1900 was erased by the Emperor of Germany, Wilhelm III, who visited Jerusalem, and as many of his kind would always like to leave something behind for the next generation. Where Mary is a holy person, and the other ones don't really evaluate Mary simultaneously. All good, but in the Roman Catholic tradition, Mary is a very dominating figure, and well, we came from this kind of a hope. Ever since it's over here, the name of the church is also very much related to the location. As the Latins called it Domitian. Now, Domitian is not a Latin word, but if you go back to the roots, you get this dormir, heavily sleep on Mount Zion. Dormir, Sion, Domitian. Right? Heaven sleep.
It's been a mosque at some point.
Like we remember here.
About this? Oh, okay. On the night that Jesus was betrayed, he took the bread and broke it. And he passed it among them. And he said, "Eat it, all of you, for this is my body that is broken for you. And every time you eat this bread, remember me." You take a piece of the bread and dip it in the zatar. They dip hyssop. They dip the bread. So take it.
Took place. And it is frankly very, very well possible. We are now on top of Mount Zion. This is an upper room. We have to get to climb up the steps to get ourselves over here. So that's absolutely okay. Very nicely decorated this room. Nice to know that those pillars, were taken from Caesarea Maritima. Remember, we've been there when Herod built his palace. After the town went down due to earthquake, the rough material was there on display. And crusades very often would take older used material, reuse it in the structures. There are two things which might be interesting. First of all, the two windows, colorful windows, and the closet in between, which is called a mihrab in Arabic, is due to what happened here during the time of the Ottomans. The Ottomans took over the place for a few hundred years, changed it into a holy place for the Muslim. Then it was again bought by the Christians and re-inaugurated to be the upper room.
To the left.
Women to the far side, men to the right. Men to the right. Yeah, 2013.
This is a traditional tomb, but again, it is related to the story I told you upstairs. Unfortunately, due to the transmission of
He's talking about the tomb being divided between men and women, but they don't let them go together. King David's tomb. Zion Gate.
The city was raised the latest, which means this is the youngest version of the city wall by the Ottomans, but it took about 500 years to go. And they didn't make a mistake, but they would like to blame people who made a mistake. What's the city wall?
Bird just went in there.
Oh. Ask. Temple.
It's over there. We can't see coming over it. It's up where the treetops are. It's below.
That's
Oh, we're
Mount
down
of
there.
Olives or Mount Olives or whatever. Aw. Ew, what is that smell?
I'm just going to drop on my phone.
I don't know. What we have instead? Graves. Okay, this is the most ancient cemetery in the whole world that is still active. because on the one hand we have burial caves from the time of King David. You see the square black holes beneath the houses over there. These are burial caves, and people are still buried there. Okay? Last month I was in a funeral. Okay, this is the village of Siloam. Siloam is taken from the name Siloam. Okay, keep it in mind. We're going to talk about it. Okay, right between our hill, the city of David, and the mountain. Do you see it? It was much deeper in King David's time. Okay, and it is called the Kidron Valley. Okay, the Kidron Valley. Okay, let's continue. Right over there is the almost most high mountain around here. Okay, it is called in Arabic Jabal Muqabel, means the great mountain, the big mountain. But we call it in Hebrew and in English we call it the Commissioner's Palace. What do we call it, the Commissioner's Palace? The palm tree next to an entranceway in the wall.
Yeah.
This is the donkey. Do you see that the cars that's standing here, they're not moving because there's a lot of traffic over there too, are standing over a bridge. You see it? The bridge indicates that there's another valley there. Okay, this valley is called the Tyropion Valley. Okay, and it goes all the way down and connects to the cave.
Some of them are coming down.
To hit the stone of the ceiling. They had the technology of magic. Okay? So what they did was to put the ceiling. They put plants, on the top of the same idea, and then the plants were held by columns. And you can order this is about what it looked like back then, okay? To dig in this special place, the highest point of the city, and she discovered two enormous walls, okay, two huge walls. One of them,
destroyed by the Babylonians. Died in 586 BC.
on the way to the meters wide. How do you say meters wide?
I live an hour from Indianapolis. Yes, it's great.
Find them.
About 20 years ago.
Oh.
No, this one about 50 years.
The I need to go left because my right hand is. Oh, these are the water tunnels in the city of David.
They usually make women carry water.
Sheesh. Don't know if it'll pick it up or not.
David Palace, and here are the walls. David ended up here, and Solomon had expanded it even more up to the high place, the temple. First temple. All this is destroyed at 586 BC.
And then there's rebuild the whole situation. So we're looking west, we're standing on Mount of Olives.